Now for the mallet finger orthosis, we are going to make a line at the PIP joint and lines a little bit in front of the tip of the finger, and then you're going to curve and connect the dots as I'm doing here. This material is going to wrap around halfway around the finger, so make sure there's enough space to wrap around halfway around the finger. So I cut out the design, I'm testing it out, and it looks like it's a good fit. And then I'm going to trace it on the splint material and then put it in hot water, and I'm going to place it onto the patient. Now, whenever you are placing it on the patient, make sure they are in a supinated position, so palm up, and you're going to place the splint onto their finger and let gravity do its thing. So first cut out the splint, and then you're going to put it into the hot water. So I'm cutting it out, making sure the edges are rounded as I'm doing here, nice and round, nice and smooth. I'm putting it into hot water, and then I'm going to place it on his finger, supinated here. And the edge, the key for the end part, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab and I'm going to pull it down to kind of make the boat of the splint. So I'm pulling it down. It's also going to push the finger into hyperextension. So we want the DIP to be in a slight hyperextension. That's the optimal position so it can be in for healing. So I'm pulling and pulling and letting the splint mold. So waiting here, testing it, see when it's molded, and then once it's ready, I remove it right here. So then I'm going to cut out the excess portion, which I'm doing here, so it's nice and smooth. You do not want to cover the nail with this orthosis. You want this to be under the nail, but you want it to be even. So cutting out, and then I'm going to retest the fit. But I'm going to round out the corners first, so make sure it's nice and rounded so it's not painful. And then you test the fit to see how it feels on the patient. And making sure it doesn't cross the PIP, so the finger is able to be bent. Next, replace it in hot water and make sure there's no sharp edges, round it out. After, you're going to just apply one Velcro strip onto the material. You can use a heat gun to heat it up before placing it on. And you're going to have two Velcro strips, so maybe about a half inch for both. Rounding it out, there's going to be one proximal and one distal strap. So as you can see here, I put one on the proximal end, wraps around, and then I'm going to put one on the distal end. So this splint, again, it keeps the finger in PIP hyperextension. That's the important thing. Last thing, you can also use a piece of Coban to wrap around the finger. This is just to keep the splint in place so it stays straight. That's just another thing you can do. You don't have to do it, but it's something you can do. And obviously when you're using the Coban, make sure you don't wrap too tight so they don't lose any blood flow. So there's no blood constriction.